All right. We're going to talk about something I usually avoid because, as we all know at this point, if you've been on the internet long enough, it's a very fickle place. But I have to say that the reactions to Nintendo's announcement on Twitter of the Nindie Showcase that's happening next week on Tuesday have been a little bit shameful. I have to say, as a community, we should feel ashamed that this is what we are representing our community as. Essentially, what I'm talking about is that the most liked comments in reply to Nintendo announcing the Nindie Showcase are basically a bunch of vulgarity and complaints about the fact that the Nindie Showcase is not, I repeat, not the next big Nintendo Direct. Now, to be clear, I understand some of the initial complaints. We just got, a showing off of indie games, a few days back. Granted, most of those games were games we already knew about, but it still was a nice little recap. And I've heard there's going to be a lot of new announcements in this Nindie Showcase, which is why they're doing a second show and why they split it up. They did, look, here's all the games you already know about, some release dates, all that stuff. And here is a bunch of new games that would overshadow all those games. So we're going to put them in their own show. And I understand that. I also understand that someone out there is going to call me a hypocrite because I was complaining at the beginning of this month about the Super Smash Bros. Direct and how I felt like a Smash Direct should come after a Fall Direct. I am going to note something here, though, that I think is a key difference between, say, a Nindie Showcase or Nindie Direct. They're calling it a showcase. It's essentially a Nindie Direct. And the Smash Direct. And the key difference is they don't put indie games generally in standard Nintendo Directs. Smash Bros. Is going to be in a Fall Nintendo Direct. If and when a Fall Direct happens, whether it's this month, whether it's next month, well, at this point, it's definitely looking like next month. It's going to have Smash Bros. In it because that's what they do. They put more teases for Smash Bros. In it. Most of these indie games are highly likely to not be in there. At most, what you usually see in a Nintendo Direct, especially a general Nintendo Direct, is a sizzle reel of indie games, which really gets them overshadowed when you have Smash and Pokemon and Mario Party, Dark Souls Remastered, the Nintendo Switch Online service they'll probably talk about, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It really just overshadows everything else. But the thing is I'm okay with the Nindie Showcase more than I was with the Smash Direct. Now, let me be clear. I loved the Smash Direct. It was amazing. I knew it was going to be amazing. I am stoked. But now we're at this point where Nintendo is starting to tell us about other games, and we're going to complain. I don't get it. So the most liked comment that I could see in reply was basically by @Sir Spidey Senses, and you're seeing a screenshot of it. It basically says, what, how? We just had one like 4 days ago. Another highly liked one, with 163 hearts says, what about the effing games not made by indies? Real sick of the shovelware. And there's, dozens and dozens of comments just like this. And the thing is I hate that we're classifying indie games as shovelware. The one of the most liked comments in replies that indie games are shovelware. I get that we are starving for a full direct showing off the latest and greatest Nintendo games and AAA games and all that stuff. I get it, but man, I think one of the biggest complaints on Switch is that the eShop has shovelware, right? People talked about the eShop and shovelware. I know I tried debunking that, but reality is that is one of the number one complaints is the eShop is flooded with shovelware. I think we need to be clear. Being an indie game does not qualify you as shovelware. You could be a AAA game and still ultimately be shovelware. So having a showcase where Nintendo shows off the best of the best of the best of the indie games coming to Switch. Basically any game Nintendo showcases, any game Nintendo shows off, any game Nintendo advertises that's an indie game, guess what? None of them are shovelware. They don't advertise shovelware like this. It's frustrating. As someone who enjoys indie games, I don't play as many as, say, someone like 5J Gaming or many other people out there. But when I do play indie games, I generally play ones that Nintendo has probably advertised to me that look really, really interesting and have caught my attention, and it's something I want to put some time into, like Golf Story. That's a big one I have on my Switch. I still haven't beaten, but I do play it time and time again, in little spurts here and there because I really, really enjoy that game. Blossom Tales and Hollow Knight, another couple of indie games I have on the platform. And there's a whole bunch of indie games I still want that are on my buy them eventually someday when you can afford to. It's crazy to me to see this kind of reaction to a Nindie Direct. And I get part of the reaction is a very similar reaction to the Smash Direct in that we want that general Nintendo Direct. And Nintendo, if they had hit us with that general Direct, maybe then the Nindie Showcase and the Smash Direct might not have had left a sour note with some people. I know the Smash Direct was so good, I don't think a lot of people feel sour over it. I don't feel sour over the Smash Direct. I knew I was going to love it. But I still stand by my stance before that, and I want to stand by a stance here that Nintendo probably should do it. After they just did a little showing off of indie games, it might have made more sense to do the Fall Direct, then do the Nindie Showcase, after that. But whatever, I'm not Nintendo. None of us are. We don't control what they do. All I know is I'm excited. Here's the thing. For what I criticized not having a Fall Direct before the Smash Direct, I was still excited for the Smash Direct. I still live streamed it, and I still loved it. And the Nindie Showcase, there's probably going to be a bunch of games in there that look amazing, and I love, and I'm going to get excited for. And shouldn't we be excited for more games on Switch? Regardless if they're AAA or indie. And this is why I wish we could tear down that barrier. In fact, I'm going to title this video, The Nindie Showcase reactions are why we need to tear down the barriers between AAA games and indies. In fact, I almost don't even want to call them indies anymore. I think we need to bring back the rating systems of AAA, AA, B tier, that kind of thing. I think we need to make that more prevalent because I know every now and then someone mentions a B tier game, but what makes it a B tier game? What's the difference between a high quality indie game and a B tier game? What's the real difference? The name of the studio behind it? Even if the indie studio might have pumped more money into it? I'm not saying that being an indie game is like a black mark. It's not. But there's a lot of these people that have that mentality that if it's an indie game, I'm ignoring it. And I hate that. Think about all the fantastic games being ignored because people can't get past this thought process in their mind that if it's indie game, it's shovelware. And I hate that, and I hate that's one of the top comments in response to the Nindie Showcase. I know there's millions upon millions of other people that are probably going to be excited for this. If not millions, at least hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be excited for the Nindie Showcase. But we need to tear down the barriers here and just treat games as games. You can call them AAA, call them indie, call them B tier, call them AA, whatever you want to call them. But games are games. And reality is, on the 28th next week, we're going to get a whole bunch of new game announcements for Nintendo Switch. And to me, that is something worth being excited about. Anyways, folks, I'm Nathaniel Ruppelchance from Nintendo Prime. Let me know what you think about these reactions and about your general excitement for the Nindie Showcase next week, or maybe your lack of excitement. Why are you not excited? Do you view indie titles as shovelware just automatically by default and they have to prove you wrong or something like that? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on all this down in the comments below. Like this video if you like it, dislike it if you happen to dislike it. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next one.